Welcome, replay viewers. How is everyone doing tonight? I'm Sarah Pettis, healthy lifestyle coach and the founder of Turn Up the Love. For those of you who don't know me or have never seen any of my scopes, I'm basically here to help overwhelmed busy women who are ashamed of their bodies develop a loving relationship with food so they can learn to eat with intention and connect with their bodies holistically. And tonight, we are talking about emotional eating versus mindful eating. So I wanted to start the scope off with this amazing quote that I found. I hope you guys can see it clearly enough. And it's live less out of habit and more out of intent. And that is exactly what my mission is to help you guys do. Especially in this day and age where we are surrounded by so many challenges and temptations. I know how important it can be to make sure that we are tuning in and connecting with ourselves and ensuring that we're listening to our own voice so that way we know that we're making the best decisions for us and our bodies. So hello, here I am, and thank you again so much for joining me tonight. So again, if you have not seen any of my scopes before, or if this is your first time tuning in, again, my name is Sarah Pettis, and I am a healthy lifestyle coach and the founder of turnupthelove.ca. If you have any friends that would be interested in a scope on food, emotional eating, and mindfulness, and would need the help with handling their emotional eating, then please, by all means, share. So to share on your iPhone, you can swipe right, and when you swipe right, you'll see the button there to share. Hello, and when you swipe up for Android, that's how you can share as well. So please share with your viewers, as I'm going to jam-pack the scope tonight in with a ton of information to help you guys to make sure that you guys can sort of identify with what sort of habits are going on when you are choosing to eat and whether you are eating mindfully or emotionally. So I really picked this topic because I find that this is a very crucial time of year, seeing as it is the time of year where the holidays start to come up. Hello! Welcome! So for those of you who are jumping on, I am Sarah Pettis, healthy lifestyle coach and the founder of turnupthelove.ca, and basically I help overwhelmed emotional women help to eat with intention and to connect with their bodies holistically. So yes, not talking about how to be fatty, I'm talking about how to identify with your body so that way you can connect with your body rather than having that. See, I don't like the word fatty. I don't like negative self-talk. I think that's part of the problem as to why our society is the way it is and why we beat people down. I think that for the first thing you need to do is to start speaking to yourself a lot more kindly. So use kinder words when you're discussing yourself and others, and basically just be more self-aware. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. And again, I thank you guys so much for joining. So again, if you could just share with your followers, anyone who would benefit from the scope tonight. You know, the holidays are coming up. I know Americans, you guys have Thanksgiving coming up super soon. We already had it here in Canada, and that's where I'm from. But if, you know, you do have Thanksgiving coming up or any holidays that you might need some help with, then by all means, please share with your viewers because I'd love to send this information to them. So first of all, how I wanted to start it off is just to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about your food and your food habits. So who here loves food, first of all? You guys love food? Like, come on. Who doesn't love food? Everyone must love food. Food is the center of almost everything right now in our society. Food, yeah, I love food too. Food is so good. Like, there's so much I love about food. I love the textures, I love the colors, I love cooking, I love different recipes. You know, you do, but eat too much. Hi, Sarah. Oh, hi, Angela. How are you doing? So, Angela, we're just talking about a mindful and emotional eating. And I just asked the question of who here loves food. So, here's a big food fan. Here's some sushi. Oh, gosh, yeah, sushi. Yep, that's a good one. Anyone else? Big food fan? Yeah. So, I'm sure all of you guys love food. I mean, it is like I said, centered around so many things in our lives, you know, whether that be the holidays, whether that be, you know, giving as a gift to others to show your love and compassion, whether that be you know, cooking for your family and showing them how much you love. Hello from Italy. Italians love food, and they make very, very, very good food, by the way. So hello, Daniela, and welcome. So yeah, I know that all of you guys love food, and most people do. And the question I have for you is that, so I will be talking a little bit about metabolism, and guys, I'm going to also be doing a question and answer period at the very end. So if you do have any questions that don't get addressed during the scope, please feel free to keep them until the end, and I would be happy to go over them with you. Okay. So like I was saying, we all love food. I mean, there's no denying that. So what I want to know is, some people shared what their favorite foods are. So, you know, we had some sushi. So who else? What is your favorite food? If you could pick one food, what would it be that you would identify as your favorite? What is your all-time favorite? Pizza. That's a big one. Almond butter. Oh my gosh, an almond butter. Heidi and I, Nutrition Intuition, you guys should follow her. She's great with health tips as well. And yeah, almond butter. We were talking about this the other day, that almond butter, the price of it has doubled and skyrocketed because of the droughts in California, and that's where most of the almonds are being extracted and imported from. So, like, if you love your almond butter, just watch your dollars, because it's super expensive right now, or buy it in bulk or something. Chocolate, yes, a very common one. Walnut butter. I've actually never had walnut butter before, but that sounds like it would be absolutely amazing. I just love nuts and seeds, and they're just so good to get your essential fats in. Thank you guys so much for the hearts, by the way. So we've had, you know, some pizza, some chocolate, some sushi, some nut butters. Anything else that you guys really, really love? Any favorites that you guys want to talk about? Squash. Oh, that's a good one. Wow, you guys are super healthy people. That's awesome. I love to hear that you guys are making good choices and that you love squash. Spaghetti squash is freaking amazing. When I discovered spaghetti squash, I seriously felt like, you know, exactly, it's so good. It was like pasta. I was like, I'm never eating pasta again, just spaghetti squash all the time. So what I want to ask you guys now, hello and thanks for joining, guys. What do those foods that you've talked about, what do they do for you? So what do they do for you when you have them? When you have your sushi, when you have your pizza, when you have your chocolate, what do they do for you? Endorphin release. Okay. So yes, they give you a feel-good feeling, right? Yeah. So they make you feel good. They make you feel happy. They give you some satisfaction. So when you go to your feel-good foods, you instantly get this feeling of release. It's almost like you have it and you're like, yes, finally, oh my gosh. And it's almost like it's comfortable. Am I right? You almost feel like you're in a safe space again, right? So what I'm talking about today is how to identify when that safe space is really pushing over the limits and when it kind of stays in that satisfied, okay zone, the good, healthy zone. So when you are eating, it's all about sort of tuning in and really listening and paying attention to what your body's trying to tell you. It's nighttime before I get to bed, and that happens. Yeah, why? And you know what? That's very common. A lot of people do say that, you know, during the day they eat really, really well, and then as soon as nighttime comes, it's just like, oh my gosh, they absolutely need to eat something. Yeah, it's like they binge eat before bed. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that this message is resonating with you, Storm Hunter. And honestly, if you have any friends, like I mentioned, that would benefit from this conversation we're having tonight, guys, please share, because I know this is a huge matter for a lot of people. Good night. Have a great night. So again, if you guys have questions, I'm going to address the issue of eating late when we get to the question and answer period. So I'm going to write that down just so I don't forget to address it. But if you guys have any other questions, honestly, we'll talk about them in the question and answer period at the end, okay? So late night eating. Now, let me ask you this question again. So when you're eating those feel-good foods, and you're getting that release of endorphins from those foods, and like Heidi, Nutrition Intuition shared, and you're feeling that feel-good feeling, how often after you've had that feel-good feeling do you experience guilt afterwards? So you've had it, you gave it to yourself, you enjoyed it, felt super good, you felt good in the moment, but then not even 5 minutes later, you started to feel this overwhelming feeling of guilt come over you. And you just thought, oh my God, why did I do that? That was so stupid. I didn't need that. It wasn't even that good. I didn't even enjoy it that much. Who here has felt that? When it's an unhealthy food, it's the guilt. Okay, there's a huge point. Exactly. Yes, we're feeling it. It will set in, right? So, you know, you're eating something. If it's unhealthy, you feel guilt. But if it's healthy, you feel good, right? So if it's an unhealthy choice, you feel poor about it. So what I call those foods, the unhealthy foods that make you feel guilt, I call them loud foods. They're loud because they call to you very loudly and you want them. You want them so bad to the point where like you'd be willing to do anything to get them. You would literally like binge in the corner and hoard it in your mouth until you can't fit any more in. Even though it could sabotage your whole day of what you worked hard for, you know, of eating your greens and your fruits and veggies and drinking all your water and, you know, taking vitamins and minerals and getting your exercise in and having a good night's sleep. You're willing to sabotage all of that and all that feel good for that one or multiple bites or pieces or chunks of that food or spoonfuls, just because it is loud and it wants your attention. So that is what I call a loud food. So those foods, that's where things can start to get dangerous, because I'm not saying that if you eat a food that you enjoy, it's a bad thing. I'm saying when you do it and you start to feel guilty about it and you overdo it, that's when things begin to become a problem, because that's where the extra calories are coming in and your body is you know, absorbing things that it doesn't necessarily need, and your body just becomes severely out of balance. So I'm going to share a little bit of a story with you. You know, I've always been an emotional eater my entire life, growing up from when I was a young kid. Right up until about, I would probably say about three years ago, emotional eating really played its role in my life. And you know, when I was growing up, I was surrounded by a lot of loud foods. You know, my biggest was chocolate. I absolutely love chocolate, and pasta. I actually really love the high carb foods. And when I was growing up, I didn't really have a lot of healthy, good foods in the house that really helped me to make good choices. There was only the loud foods that were around. So of course, anytime that I would be, you know, feeling annoyed at the end of the day, came home from work and I was stressed out and had a tough day, I would gravitate towards those loud foods versus going to a healthy choice, because they weren't available when I was growing up as a young kid. So when I started to get older, I learned that, you know, you got to take control of your nutrition. I mean, you know, your metabolism isn't always going to be the same, and you're just not going to be able to stay in control of your body, and you start to feel it more as you get older. So as I started to get older, I started to really pay attention to my body and start to be more aware of my body. And as, you know, I got older and I also moved out of my parents' house when I was 16 years old, I started to be able to make my own decisions. And when I was able to make my own decisions, it was then that I was able to choose foods that were best for me and my body. And I feel the best part about being able to choose foods best for my body is I could eliminate those loud foods from my household. Does anyone here have someone in their life that tends to bring in these loud foods into their home? You know, they tend to bring in all the healthy stuff and they're doing really good and they're enjoying their meals. They're satisfied, they're enjoying their meals, but they have this other person that's bringing in these loud foods. Anyone here, whether it be husband or wife or kids or mother-in-law, which I'm going to talk about, or anyone at all, friends, neighbors, people can be bringing foods into your house or into your home, you know, at Christmas time, cookies, cakes, sweets of any kind, Halloween candy. Anyone have kids right now who has young kids who brought in loud food? Yes, so I call junk food or trigger foods or comfort food loud food. So have you had that 500 level? Have you had someone bring those foods into your home? I know for a lot of mothers that I've been speaking to, it's their kids with the Halloween candy. You know, Halloween just ended a week or two ago, and they, sorry, I'm just having some green tea. They brought in all this Halloween candy, and they're having a hard time. All these mini chocolate bars are sitting around their house, and they're like, oh my God, Sarah, it is like calling at me. And I just said, you know what? I can definitely relate. And I'm going to tell you how I can relate. So, like I said, normally when I was in control of my foods, I didn't have a problem with the temptation because I would make things that I absolutely loved, you know? So I would make delicious fettuccine Alfredos, but I eat more of a plant-based diet, so I don't eat a lot of dairy. And, you know, I would make it with all natural ingredients of, you know, like a soy cream-based cream cheese and like almond spread and different yeast and stuff to put into the food and make it all healthy and fresh and with fresh herbs and fresh spices and fresh vegetables, and I would be satisfied. I would love it. But what my challenge has been lately is that about 6 months or so ago, I recently moved in to my in-laws' house with my boyfriend. And we did so because we are going to be moving halfway across the world to Australia in about 2 weeks' time. So what has kind of occurred for me during my stay here is that there are a lot of these loud foods that I wasn't used to being around anymore. Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited. So a lot of these loud foods, yes, it is definitely going to be paradise. Thank you. I know, I'm so excited. A lot of these loud foods have now been surrounding me in my life. So, you know, there has been things like cheese. Cheese is a big one for me, and for someone who's going more of a plant-based diet, it's very loud because it's something I've tried to, you know, eliminate or at least cut out quite a bit, and it's just a quick, easy slice that you cut off and you pop in your mouth, and there's blocks of it sitting in the fridge. Yeah, cheese, and you know what cheese actually has? There's scientific evidence that proves that cheese is addicting. It releases endorphins in your brain that makes you addicted, like cocaine or crack. I'm not even kidding, you guys. There's been research and studies that have shown that. So cheese is terrible. If you don't love cheese, don't get into it because it's literally very, very, very addicting. I missed that last comment that just came up. Can you just put that one more time? Sorry, the person who just wrote. I missed it there. Sorry about that. So again, a lot of these loud foods or high trigger foods were constantly surrounding me, and it was very, very, very challenging for me to overcome these loud foods all of a sudden. And it wasn't something. Is marijuana part of your plant-based diet? Well, that's another topic, and we'll definitely have to talk about that another time. But good question. So yeah, guys, another big one for me recently with these loud foods was chocolate. Now, not any specific chocolate, but do you guys know the Reese's peanut butter cups? Like, those things are honestly the devil. Oh, my dog just came in here. Do you guys want to see her? This is my baby. So I have to leave this little fur ball behind when I leave for Australia. So I'm trying to spend as much time with her as humanly possible. But yeah, she says hello. She says hello. So yeah, guys, Reese's peanut butter cups. Tomato, a fruit, or a vegetable? That's a good question. Honestly, it can go both ways. I've heard people say it's fruit or a vegetable. All right, Heidi, thank you so much for joining. And yes, definitely catch the replay and jump on. So see you later. Now, with the Reese's peanut butter cups, anyone had them? You guys must have had them. Come on, they're seriously like the bomb. I freaking love them. And yes, I'll definitely be scoping from Australia. So when I was little, and I used to go trick-or-treating, I would always like dump my bag out at the end of the night, like dump the whole thing out on the floor. And the only thing I would look for was those freaking Reese's peanut butter cups. They were my absolute favorite. They are all that I wanted. And sorry, let me close the door. So when I started living with my in-laws, guess what she decided to do to me, you guys? Oh my gosh, it's been the biggest struggle I've had in probably the last month. And even though I'm planning an international trip worldwide and trying to run my business here from home and everything else, the biggest challenge for me has been these damn Reese's peanut butter cups. So, you know the people who buy them on sale the day after Halloween? You know, they're like half price because they want to just like get them out of the stores, the Reese's peanut butter cups. Well, yeah, she bought like them in bulk. And, you know, she has like a cute little candy jar and they're all filled right on the island, staring at me, like literally staring at me, calling my name. So every time I'm prepping food on the counter, I'm literally watching these things in this bowl. So guys, like seriously, I'm not perfect. And I'm going to be right here to tell you that I'm not. You know, I had a conversation or watched a Periscope last night with someone from this amazing group that I'm a part of. And she said, you know, you really got to own it. You got to really own everything that you do. And yeah, I'm sitting here to say that I'm owning up to the fact that I've been emotionally eating on these Reese's peanut butter cups. I haven't been hungry. I haven't been wanting them. But every time I'm in that freaking kitchen, I find myself eating one of them. It's awful. Thank you. So, you know what I started to do? I started to keep these damn wrappers. Just keeping these damn wrappers to be like, Sarah, this is evidence, Sarah. This is evidence of how bad you're drawn to these darn things, how much of a hold they have over you still. How many years later, like seriously, like 15 years later, these darn peanut butter cups still have a hold over you? And you know what I even tried to do this year? Because I know Halloween is always a challenge. I made a healthy, vegan-free, gluten-free, dairy-free Reese's peanut butter cup. I did. I made these delicious, healthy Reese's peanut butter cups, and they were amazing. They were so satisfying and so delicious. I actually had the recipe up on my blog, so if you go to turnupthelove.ca, you'll find my blog there, and there's these delicious homemade Reese's peanut butter cups, and you guys should totally check them out. They're so good. And I made a huge batch of them, like seriously like a dozen of these, and I enjoyed them on Halloween, and you know, it was perfect. But then these darn cups, the discount cups, decided to haunt me for the last 2 weeks. So I said, you know what? This is an issue because I've been, you know, I've lost 40 pounds myself. I've been working as a healthy lifestyle coach, you know, for the last 4 years now. And, you know, I eat really, really, really clean and healthy, and I nourish my body, you know, I work out, you know, get activity in at least every day. I drink lots of water. I drink lots of green tea, you know, and I'm constantly very aware of my body. So why now? Why now? And why is this happening? And you know why it's happening? It's happening because there is new emotions that are occurring in my life. I mean, for Pete's sakes, I'm moving halfway across the world. That is emotional, whether I want to accept it or not. So instead of dealing with the stress of this big move, I've been gravitating toward these loud temptation foods. And bless my mother-in-law, I love her soul, but pissed that she brought those things into the house because it was super challenging for me. And you know, it's funny, just before I jumped on this scope, I was downstairs making my tea, and I was standing there, and my boyfriend came in the kitchen. He goes, looks in the candy jar, and he goes, more chocolate? Like, he was just like, seriously? Like, really? More chocolate? Like, what is with the temptation? And then, of course, his hand goes scooping in the bowl, and he grabs and puts them in his mouth, and then he looks at me, and he goes, you know what? It's not even worth, like, you just instantly feel guilt after. And he is like a guy who doesn't even necessarily focus on his diet. But guys, he even felt the guilt. So obviously these foods are loud, they're calling to you, and they're being a pain in the ass. So what we're going to talk about today is how to identify when you're eating out of emotion or when you are eating out of mindfulness. Exactly. So to kind of go through the difference between mindful eating and emotional eating. So mindful eating is basically when you're eating and you're actually aware of what you're eating, you know? So you're aware of what you eat, you know, whether that be your fruits, your vegetables, your carbohydrates, your grains, you know, your fruits, vegetables, it doesn't matter. You're aware of what you're eating. And you're aware of how much you're eating as well. You know, you're very in tune to how much and your portions and if you need more and if you don't, because you're listening to your body. And you're aware of why you're eating these foods too, why these foods are important to you and your diet and why you're consuming them. So that's mindful eating. Now, emotional eating is a little bit different. So emotional eating is when what you eat is triggered by your emotions, similar to how I've been eating these damn Reese peanut butter cups due to the stress of my trip, rather than actually truly wanting to eat because of physical hunger. So I wasn't hungry anytime I ate any of those Reese peanut butter cups. I ate them because I was dealing with something else, and it felt comfortable to me and like a release to me temporarily to enjoy those Reese's peanut butter cups. So can I get a thumbs up to anyone who has experienced what I described as emotional eating, as far as feeling not hungry and gravitating towards a loud food and feeling guilty after? Can I get a thumbs up to anyone who has felt that way? And it's not a good thing, but I like the awareness of it, and that's why I want thumbs up. So thumbs up if you guys have ever experienced emotional eating, where you've had a bad trigger food that you've given into. Thank you. Thank you for participating. I love people who participate. They are my favorite. Guys, don't be quiet. This is a conversation. I know you're in to take the information in, but I love when people interact. That's what makes this a conversation and you know, builds a relationship between us. So thank you so much for participating. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have. It is a very challenging thing that most of us go through. So I'm going to give you guys some tips of how to identify when you are eating out of emotion and versus when you are eating mindfully. Okay, so for those of you who jumped on, we're just about to get started into the content. So grab your pen and paper. You're going to want to write these things down. Guys, the holidays are coming up quick. We have Thanksgiving quickly approaching, and we have Christmas quickly approaching. Thanksgiving for people who are in the United States. Canada's already celebrated it where I'm from, but I know holidays are quickly approaching, and I know that you guys could definitely benefit from this, just to be more aware. So if you write these tips down, you could always put this on your fridge, and if it's on your fridge, it just kind of gives you that awareness to look at before you go and grab those foods. Okay, so again, thank you for the hearts. I love them, guys. Beautiful, beautiful turquoise, my favorite color. Windsor, Ontario here. No way. I'm from actually Waterloo, moving to Australia. Yeah, super excited. Okay, so point number 1, when you eat mindfully, you are able to read hunger signals. Okay, so you really, when you're able to read your hunger signals, you know your body's true hunger and your fullness signals, right? So you use them to gauge how much to eat, right? So when you're hungry, you go, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat something. And then you eat until you are satisfied and you don't consume every little bit on your plate. You also eat when you feel actual physical hunger coming on, such as a growling stomach or maybe a shift towards moodiness. So, very sweetie. Oh, that's nice. So maybe, you know, you're starting to get irritable, you know, you kind of get a little bit of a headache, maybe you're working at your desk, and you start to get that sort of like, oh, I'm feeling a little annoyed, I need something to eat, and then you go and eat. That is understanding and listening to your body and identifying it as a hunger signal. So what is different between mindful eating and reading your hunger signals and emotional eating is that when you eat emotionally, you ignore your hunger signals and you eat mindlessly. So you're not listening to your body at all. So you continue to eat despite feeling full versus stopping when you've had enough. You also eat on autopilot. So you're just kind of mindlessly eating like it never even happened. Like you're not even thinking about your meal. You're just eating it, right? So that can be, you know, when people usually multitask and they're eating. So say, for example, you're watching TV. You know, you're watching your favorite TV show and you grab popcorn, right? The hand and mouth motion, and you just go and you go, or chips. I know a lot of people love chips. I mean, there's so many good flavors out there. But that, guys, like that's emotional eating when you're just literally watching the TV and you're just 1, 2, and it just kind of keeps going. That is eating out of emotion, and it's not being aware of your hunger. You could also be cooking, and you know how like you could be cooking for your kids or cooking for someone else, and just kind of like a lick here and a bite there, and you're just chopping something, pop it in your mouth. That is eating out of emotion as well. You're not being mindful of what you're doing. While you're emailing, a lot of people will do that also, you know, sitting on the computer and just kind of be putting things in the mouth, not tracking or understanding how much they're consuming, and reading or driving. I mean, those are all big ways to ignore your food and what you're eating, and not listening to your hunger signals. So am I going too fast? Are you guys able to get these points down? I really want to make sure that you guys have these to take away from. So please let me know if I'm going too quickly. And again, if you have any questions, we're going to go over them at the end. So bear with me. So the next point, how to identify if you're eating mindfully. To use an open mind, right? So you're really open to an array of foods. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, definitely watch the replay. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Sleep well. So when you have an open mind and you eat mindfully, basically you're open to eating an array of foods. You know, you're open to eating different recipes and new things that you've never tried before. Doesn't have to be anything specific that you're craving. You just want to enjoy an array of different varies of foods. So you're really open-minded to different recipes and new things to try out, whether that be a new smoothie or you know, a new pasta dish, or a new salad option, a new soup, a homemade soup that you want to make in the winter. You're just ready to try anything, and you were just like looking for those healthy recipes because you're like, I freaking love food and I'm willing to try it all. As long as it's good for my body, then I want to get it in me as fast as possible. So that is using an open mind, and that is mindfully eating. So when you eat randomly and inconsistently, so when you frequently graze throughout the day, you know, you don't really have set meal times, and you're just kind of going into the kitchen, you're opening the fridge, you kind of look in, maybe you grab, you know, a pickle out of the pickle jar, put it in your mouth, or you grab like it's leftovers and you kind of eat from the container, you put it away, and then you're okay, I'm good, and then you go back into the kitchen and you kind of go grab some crackers, put those in your mouth, or I don't know, guys, cereal. Some people like throw their hand in a cereal box and just eat from the box. That is when you're eating randomly, okay? So you're not aware. And skipping actual meals. So, oh my gosh, guys, skipping meals, it absolutely drives me crazy. Who here has said out loud, please be honest, because this is where we can change things, is when we're honest. I shared my peanut butter cup story, so I want you guys to share with who of you say, I just don't have time to eat. I just don't have time. I don't have time to eat. Guys, you don't have time to eat? What, how, no, okay. If you do say that, I really need you guys to stop saying that. Because, okay, put it this way, okay? This is how I always explain eating. Your body, your beautiful, precious bod, is a friggin' machine, okay? If you want to be amazing, and you want to be brilliant, and you want to get a ton of stuff done in the day, and you want to work at your highest capacity and best serve all involved in your life and put your best self out there, you guys need to take care of this body. You guys need to take care of this machine. It's like if you were driving a freaking Lotus or a gorgeous BMW or a gorgeous Mercedes or an Audi. Guys, beautiful car. You're going to put in the premium gas. You're going to give it the gas it needs. You're not going to drive it until the gas runs out. Are you? No, you're not going to drive it until the gas runs out. You are going to drive that car and put in the premium gas it deserves. And I need you guys to start doing that with your bodies and giving yourselves food it deserves. You can't forget to eat. You need to fuel your body, okay? So if you guys are not eating and you are skipping meals, that is a huge ding, 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 ding that you are only eating out of emotion and when you're eating sporadically, okay? Also, if you're ignoring your portion sizes and your appetite, you know, don't eat everything on your plate just because it's there. I understand some people, you know, like my family's European. I have a European family, and they almost expect you to eat everything on your plate or you're insulting them. But guys, like, you are not a garbage disposal, okay? Like, you're not a garbage disposal. It's either going to go to waste in the waste bin or it's going to go to your waste. Guys, seriously, do not feel guilty. You need to set boundaries with people and explain to them, I'm full, I'm satisfied, I enjoyed my meal. Thank you so much for preparing this for me. It was absolutely amazing, but I'm done. And that is all you have to do. You're done. Okay, guys? You are not a garbage disposal, so don't let people do that to you. But again, that's being aware of your body's needs, unaware of your body's needs. So that would be an emotional eating trigger, okay? So we've gone over a few. Now something else I want to go over is savoring the experience. So mindful eating is savoring the experience. It's enjoying that meal. You know, you're going to sense and taste and savor in the flavors of your food. When you take a bite, you're going to put it in your mouth and just really enjoy it for a second. Stop shoveling the food down, okay? Really, really enjoy that food while it is in your mouth, okay? Don't resent eating and don't stress about meal times. That's another huge thing by savoring the experience. When eating is coming up, welcome the experience. Be excited about the experience. You know, sit down, you know, have candles lit, have beautiful flowers on your table. Really make it a romantic experience every time that you eat. It's important that you sit while you eat as well. Sitting when you eat is so important. Don't ever stand and eat, because then you are not savoring that food that you have been gifted with. Okay, guys? It is a blessing to have food, and we need to start treating it as such. So another point that I want to point out is take a certain anticipated flavor or texture into account before eating, so you can find more satisfaction in your meal, right? So when you're expecting a food, you know, if it's sweet, then be like, the sweetness of this food, or the saltiness of this food. It's so delicious. I've been waiting for this. So enjoy it. Savor the experience, okay? That is mindful eating to its fullest. Make sure you're really creating the whole experience to make it romantic. Really, really, really make it. Hello, Lana. Thank you so much for joining on. So we're just kind of getting through the core of the content right now. We're talking about mindful eating versus emotional eating. And I was just talking about how when you eat mindfully, you really savor the experience of the food. So, you know, you sense it, you taste it, you savor it, you put the food in your mouth, and you enjoy every bit of that flavor that you are having, and you're not just shoveling the food in and you're like, oh, okay, done, see you later, and running off to your next to-do activity. Make the time that you eat with your food a romantic experience. Sit down, put some nice calming music on, whether you guys want to put some R&B rap and you love that, I mean, put that on too, like whatever is your jam, I don't care, but make it a cool and enjoyable experience for yourself, and enjoy the time that you are eating. We need to become more present in the moment that we are in and start slowing down and experiencing the moment as it comes, okay? So the opposite of savoring the experience would be being unaware to the body's needs. So again, eating, like I mentioned, the oversized portions, and eating just stuff your face rather than to fulfill. So again, do not be someone's garbage disposal, okay? Like I said, if you are done with the food on your plate and you are full and you are satisfied, it's okay to put it in the waste, but don't put it in your waste, on your waste bin on your hips, okay, guys? It's not insulting. We need to get over that. You need to explain to people what you eat and what portions you need, and don't put so much on your plate, okay? So that's being unaware of your body's needs. So the last and final tip to identify emotional eating versus mindful eating. So with mindful eating, you have control over your emotional eating. So you understand that emotional triggers can lead for you to not actually feel hungry. You know, you understand that when you're not feeling hungry, you're probably eating out of emotion. You don't feel guilty over occasionally eating the wrong things either. You know, that's a huge thing too. A lot of you guys brought up a lot of your loud foods. You know, some of you guys said sushi, some of you guys said almond butter, some of you guys said chocolate, some of you guys said pizza. I'm not saying that you can't ever have those foods, but what I'm saying is really choose the times that you want to and have them, and really enjoy your experience with them while you're having them, okay? So it's okay to have them, but don't feel guilty after the fact. Really make it a good experience for yourself, okay? Also let go of the critical thoughts that come with binge eating. So when you guys first jumped on, you know, they're just talking, like, you're saying the word fad all the time, and, you know, a lot of you guys were just saying, you know, it's out of control, and it's how you, this discussion that you have with yourself when you are eating food. I mean, we need to treat ourselves with more self-care and more self-love. You know, if we don't treat ourselves that way, we don't speak to ourselves that way, how do we ever expect others to do that for us, right? So we need to create a new relationship with food and a new verbiage with how we talk about ourselves and our bodies, okay? So I did write something down, you know, sort of an affirmation that I kind of want you guys to use when you are making your food choices. So I promise to nourish you deeply with things that are good. And make sure you say that to yourself. I promise to nourish you deeply with things that are good. And say that to your body when you are being called to by these loud foods. Say, I promise to nourish you deeply with things that are good. That is really good. I'm so glad you like that, Elena. And honestly, like that's where it all starts, is make these conscious decisions by creating a better self-talk with yourself first. And then when you start speaking to yourself that way, you're going to start speaking to others that way when they are also challenged and struggling with these emotional loud foods also. Okay, guys, so we need to build each other up instead of tearing each other down. And I you know, it's so hard for me. A lot of people, you know, as a life coach or health coach, they go, oh my God, I'm so fat. Like, how do I change this? And I go, first of all, stop calling yourself fat. Stop it. What do you love about, I ask them, like, what do you love about yourself? What are your passions? What are your pursuits? Who are you? What are your, you know, what are you into? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Tell me that. Don't tell me this negative talk, because you got to change your verbiage with yourself first before you can change anything. Because if you're hard on yourself, you're hard on your emotions, and then what happens? We go to those loud foods, and then we feel guilt, and it's just this awful cycle that keeps repeating itself. So start first by speaking kindly. So please use that affirmation when you are speaking to your body when you're choosing these foods, okay? And then with stress about the food, so the opposite then would be stressing about the food that you eat, and that would be the emotional side. So ultimately believing that you have little or no control over your food, that is when you're stressed about your food. You know, you stress about your food choices. You identify food as good or bad. Guys, you are in control. Again, if you want something that you love, have it, but make sure that you are having it consciously, not while you're eating, or not while you're driving, not while you're watching TV, while you're sitting down, and while you are enjoying that meal. And stop criticizing yourself continually, like I mentioned. And guys, just please stop relying on fad diets, okay? We need to find and develop habits that are going to last a lifetime, and that's the only way things are going to change for you, okay? And that's how they change for me. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the scope, I haven't always been healthy, and it took a long time, but you know, I'm still growing, I'm still adapting, and I'm still evolving as a person as well, and you guys will too. But these fad diets who say, oh yeah, you're gonna lose 10 pounds in 3 weeks, like guys, like, you don't want to lose that way. You want to learn how to build an amazing relationship with your body and love yourself intentionally and love the foods that you choose, and really start to practice self-love with your body, okay? That is how you will find peace. That is how you will find peace, and that is how you'll be able to maintain and keep the weight off and really, really understand the importance of nutrition, okay? So that is my scope tonight, probably one of my longest scopes. And for those of you who stayed on the entire time, I know who you are and I love you. You guys are awesome, and I so appreciate you being here tonight, and I really hope that I gave you a ton of valuable information that you guys can take away and use, hopefully, over the holiday season, or when having company over, or, you know, even when you're alone and you don't have anyone else there. So for those of you who are joining on, I'm just about to wrap up. But the replay will be posted, so feel free to tune in. Give me lots of hearts if you can in the replay. Share with anyone that you feel might benefit from this information. I want to try to get this information out to as many people as possible, so that we can start to inspire and help others so that they can start to eat intentionally and start loving their amazing bodies that we were all given, and start treating their bodies as their temple. Okay, guys, so thank you again so much. So I did promise that at the end of the scope that I would be opening the floor to any questions that anyone had. So if you guys have any questions, now is your time. Feel free to voice them. I'd be more than happy to give you my insights on them. So feel free to ask. I do have a couple questions that I wrote down that I can address also. But I would love if you guys had any questions that you partook as well. So one of the questions I did get earlier on the scope was about late night eating. Someone asked, you know, good throughout the entire day, but as soon as nighttime rolls around, I start to eat, and they can't control it. And that would definitely be identified as emotional eating, right, guys, as we've noticed. And what I'm going to say about late night eating is there's probably something rooted with the late night eating that's going on internally. So what you kind of want to identify with is what sort of emotions are you feeling when you're eating these foods? Are you feeling, you know, stressed before you're eating these foods? So you're grabbing these foods to kind of wind down from your day and kind of tune, you know, zone out a little bit, you know, while you're watching TV, or you kind of answering emails at the end of your day, or doing something to wind down. Because if that's the reason behind why, you know, you're eating late at night, it's just that, you know, you're using it as a comfort, the food, you know, you're using it to put you in a safe zone, so you can stop dealing with the emotions that have sort of come up throughout the day, and rather than with dealing with them face on and looking at, okay, why am I actually feeling this way? What's occurring? What's happening? Why, like, what happened before I wanted to eat these foods? Instead of actually asking those questions, you're just trying to find that comfort for that temporary release, so that those endorphins can be released, and you know, you get the good feeling of serotonin, and your cortisol levels lower. But again, guys, it's only temporary, right? So we want to find long-term solutions. So, all right, how would you recommend encouraging a loved one to be more mindful of their eating habits? Alana, that is a great question. Absolutely amazing question, because you know what? That's something that I've struggled with immensely with my boyfriend. I don't even know if he's on here, but if he is, he's very aware of this as well. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. It's very hard when you know, you see the importance of nutrition, and you love the people in your life so much, but they just don't get it, or they just aren't there where you are yet. And I think the best advice for me to give with that is that you need to understand that everyone needs to start somewhere, right? So we all are on journeys at different times in our life, and maybe for them, they haven't found the reason behind why that's important yet. But I think the best thing that what you can do for them is just educate them. You know, I don't think by preaching to them and being naggy about it is helpful or effective. I know for me, it never was. I thought by constantly poking and picking that would be helpful. But I'm learning very quickly that you can't force people to do things that they don't want to do. But you can educate them, you know, and tell them why you love to eat healthy, you know. For me, it's like, it gives me really good energy. It makes my focus, like razor sharp focus. It makes me more productive. It makes me able to wake up super early in the morning. And it just, it makes me be able to work at my highest capacity. And when I can explain that, people are like, damn, I want to get me a piece of that, right? People want that. People want that feel-good feeling. And usually that's why they go to the bad foods. But when they can have it and be in control of it, and it's a long-term feel-good feeling, something so much better in that. So that's what I would recommend, is let them go at their own pace, but just try to educate them, be supportive. Like, you know, when they are eating healthy, definitely, you know, encourage them, and offer any support and advice, but let them go at their own pace. I mean, everyone's on their own journey and their own road. And sometimes for some people, something really traumatic has to happen in their lives for them to wake up. It really, really, really does. So hopefully it doesn't have to get to that point. Hopefully you can inspire them along the way. But I think if you can encourage and just be there for them if they have questions, and guide them, then that's the best thing that you can do, right? So just be that support when they need it, but know that they'll get there on their own time. So does anyone else have any more questions for me? It's starting to get a little late and I still got a ton of work to do. So I'm probably going to jump off now, guys, but you guys have been absolutely amazing. Again, I hope I gave you a ton of information that you guys can use when dealing with these stressful situations, as I know it can be very, very, very challenging, especially over the holidays, like I mentioned. So if you want any more information on what I do, again, you can go to my website at turnupthelove.ca, or I'm going to actually invite you to email me personally if you have any other questions or you are struggling. Good to see you too, Alana. So good to see you too. If you are struggling with any emotional eating, then I'm going to give you my email here, so that way you can reach out to me. So I've actually written it down for you. Hopefully you guys can see it. Is it a little crammy? So it's Sarah at turnupthelove.ca. And then I've also given you my contact form on my website there. So if you guys are looking for more information, do need some help with emotional eating, I'm always more than welcome to help you guys out. I mean, that's what I love to do. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would absolutely love to get in contact with you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing night. Be mindful in your choices this evening and make sure you're eating out of intention, and give love to yourself and love to your body, and try to get to sleep early, get a good night's rest. It is National Good Sleep Month, or Healthy Sleeping Month, or something like that. So I definitely hope that you guys can get a good night's sleep, and sending all my love, sending all my support, and if you guys need anything at all, just reach out, okay? Have an amazing night, guys. Love you guys so much.